Number 10. There was a belief that the end of the world would come in the middle of the 1st century AD. Yes, people have been thinking that the end is near for a very long time. This particular prediction arose around 60 years after the death of Jesus. The writings in the epistles of Paul of Tarsus implied that Jesus is returning for the rapture during an unspecified year, but believes that the time was near. Like anyone alive at that time might just experience it near. Well, 21 centuries have passed, so it definitely didn't happen. Number 9. A lot of Christian clerics believed that the world was ending on the 1st January of the year 1000, which is the first millennium. So they waged war with the pagan countries across northern Europe. A lot of radical Christians tried to get everyone to convert, even if they needed to use force before the year 1000 comes. Normal people of the time were so afraid, they gave their possessions to the church for salvation in preparation for the end of time. But the time passed and it wasn't the end of the world. Luckily for the church, most people didn't even know that the year 1000 was reached, and those that knew demanded their possessions back. But that was refused by the church and some suffered needlessly. Let's just say any heretics were exterminated. Number 8. The world would end in the year 1688 or 1700. Well, there was a discrepancy in the year here because a mathematician called John Napier predicted the end of the world using his calculations from the book of Revelation and said it would either end in the year 1688 or the year 1700. Luckily for him, he died in 1617 before either of the year mentioned. Imagine the shame for being wrong twice. Number 7. In 1806, in the English town of Leeds, some weird rumor came to be. The rumor was that of a hen that laid eggs with the phrase "Christ is coming" written on them. The rumor spread like wildfire and some actually believed that doomsday was coming. That is, until a local was curious enough to wait and watch the hen lay its eggs. There was actually no writing. Apparently, the owner wrote on the eggs with corrosive ink so that the eggs were etched with those words and, gruesomely enough, reinserted the eggs back into the hen's oviduct. Scary. Number 6. An astronomer in 1881 found that comet tails contains a deadly gas called cyanogen, which is related to cyanide through spectral analysis. It was an okay discovery at the time. It wasn't really interesting, but this information was suddenly scary when someone realized that Earth would pass through the tail of Halley's Comet in 1910. Then you know what happened? The media happened. On front pages of newspapers, speculations of would the planet be covered in toxic gas was everywhere. Widespread panic was occurring across the United States and even abroad. People believed humanity would be wiped out, some believed the second coming was near, and some saw it as an opportunity to make money. Comet pills were sold with a guarantee to protect against the toxic gases. Finally, the head scientist had to explain that there was nothing to fear. Number 5. There was a cult in the United States called the Heaven's Gate Cult. They believed that the destruction of Earth was imminent, and it would come in 1997. The cult leader, Marshall Applewhite, was a former singer and believed himself as the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Weirdly enough, the cult believed that Earth will be wiped clean by aliens for recycling, and the only way for them to not be wiped clean was by being a level of existence above humans. Apparently, the only way to achieve this was by suicide, where their souls would then board on the spacecraft that was said to be on the comet Hale-Bopp. So yes, 39 people died that day from mass suicide, while all wearing the same black attire and the same Nike Dickies sneakers. Number 4. 1999 was an interesting year. There was a lot of predictions going around that year, from UFOs to meteorites to nuclear wars to worldwide natural disasters. But have you ever heard of Nostradamus? Well, he published a book called The Prophecies in 1555, and some of the prophecies in it is believed to have came true. But with these types of prophecies, where it's written in riddles, you either misinterpret it or miss the point entirely. Anyways, one of the most famous quatrains from the book goes like this. The year 1999, 7th month, from the sky will come the great king of terror, bringing back to life the great king of Mongols, before and after Mars, to reign by good fortune. From that, do you get what I mean about misinterpreting it? What does it even mean? Well, some interpreted it saying that the world would've, should've ended in 1999. Number 3. Year 2000 was also a year where a lot of predictions for the end of the world, probably a continuation from 1999. But the most interesting one was the prediction of the Y2K bug. Some people were worried that computers might just go haywire because of the 00 at the end of 2000, as programmers represented the 4-digit year with only the final 2 digits, with 00 being 1900 rather than 2000. So assumptions for errors were not really unjustified. But with things like this, religious organizations, cults, conspiracy theorists all popped up saying the worst that the end of the world was coming. Number 2. Do you know about the Mayan prediction where the Earth would be destroyed by an asteroid called Nibiru or other massive things from space, and that their long calendar ends in 2012? Well, it's merely a misrepresentation of the Mayan culture and history. It's true that the Mayan calendar ended in December 2012, but it was never intended for the end of the world. It was more just the end of a long cycle. For example, the 1st January is the start of the cycle, while December 31st is the end of the cycle we call a year. It was nothing more than just a calendar ending. The glyphs for it was partially damaged, so a full translation was impossible. But then, would you believe a prophecy from a civilization that didn't even predict their own downfall? Probably not. Number 1. Apparently, there was a YouTube video by a channel named End Times Prophecies saying that the world will end on the 29th July 2016. The video racked up more than 5 million views, but seeing how the time has passed, it couldn't even be found anywhere on the channel itself anymore.